This record is it has so much 90s sound to it, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I think that like when we're talking about a lot of emo records, we want things that are a little bit more up to date, a little bit more current, things that like sound like they were recorded in the 2000s and not in the 90s. We hear a Foo Fighters song that came out in the 90s, and we go, that's 90s Foo Fighters. When we get to like 2000s Foo Fighters, there's a very different feeling and sound to that we're not saying like, oh, this is like 90s sound. But this album, Blue Album, is very stuck in that 90s sound to me. That's a good way to describe the aesthetic and the feeling of it, because I also feel like there's a lot of bands that are trying to steal that aesthetic now. They want that to sound like that 90s feeling and give you like that 90s nostalgia that maybe they have. As a kid of the 90s, I certainly have some of that 90s nostalgia. I wonder if kids who, grew up in the 2000s, 2010s are like, this is my idea of what that 90s aesthetic sounds like. An example of a band that I'm like, you sound like this is Joyce Manor. Joyce Manor is a band that is kind of taking what Weezer did on this and just speeding it up. They're making it a faster song, more barn burner. Like, let's not do it over 4 minutes. Let's do it over a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and get in and out. They're taking the simple formulas. They're taking stuff like Surf Wax America, just making that, a fast song. I hear a lot of the Midwest twinkly guitars in this, stuff like Mom Jeans, a really good example of like a band that was heavily influenced by this. They're obviously very influenced by the sounds created on this, the humor, not taking yourself so seriously, having some nostalgia, having some like childish feeling around that, but keeping in all of like the musical aesthetics of the 90s and the guitars and everything that Weezer does on this, or Rivers specifically does on this.